contractors following the tree removal. Request that thorough appropriate maintenance of the re-vegetation is undertaken in order to maximise survival. Ensure that adequate budget and resources are allocated for the maintenance plan set out by the Environment Coordinate's decision. Request that copies of each of the completed plans and reports required as part of the resource consent conditions are provided to the local board, concurrently to being submitted to the community liaison group for review and appropriate response. Delegate to the Waitematā Local Board Parks Portfolio Lead Member Avendaño Christie to review and provide any additional feedback on the public communications plan for the Western Springs pine tree removal. I am moving this way. This is a project that began with the first one.
Microphone, please.
Board 9.5 years ago. Oh, sorry, is this not working anymore? So this is a project that the Waitematā Local Board almost 10 years ago has been focused on developing and implementing a long-term plan for Western Springs Park, including the slope at the eastern end of the park, which is dominated by the stand of pine trees. As they age, 3/4 of them have fallen or been removed. Their once spectacular view on the skyline has become patchy. They're less effective in protecting each other and the vegetation underneath from the elements, and their increasing propensity to fall means they become hazardous to access for pest control and maintenance staff and to park users. So we've decided on the objective of returning the area to native Park forest and achieving long-term improved habitat, ecological and ecosystem health here. We considered the options of slow removal of the trees as they showed signs of dying, but recognised that even expert arborists could not always recognise which trees are at risk of falling, and that adopting such a policy would slow the systematic restoration of the forest by 20 to 25 years. Removal of the trees by helicopter was considered and determined to be too expensive and, more importantly, too hazardous for the staff on the ground who need to be involved in handling the trees. Staff assessments of the state of the tree has been by a method that meets internationally recognised standards. The systematic felling and ground removal of the remaining pine trees and the planting and maintenance of replacement bush was decided on as the preferred option. The project in this form was consulted on as a specific priority project of the local board from 21 January 2015 to 16 March 2015. That consultation clearly met the requirements of the Local Government Act. Of the 73 responses received, 65 or 89% supported the Western Springs Native Bush Restoration Project as set out. It's important to note that support continues from the Zoo, Western Springs Stadium, Motet and Ngāti Whātua and the other iwi represented on the Mana Whenua report. Ngāti Whātua had confirmed this as recently as March the 12th. Mana Whenua said that the removal of the pines as part of this project is the best way to protect the native plants, birds and insects there to advance their historic kaitiaki responsibility for the forest. Unfortunately, sometimes the wheels of council grind very slowly and some new residents were unaware of the project, and it was not until 2018 the resource consent to apply this decision was notified and heard. This resource consent process enabled those who have moved into the area since who had developed additional concerns to be heard through this process. The Environment Court decision in favour of the project with conditions was appealed, followed by detailed mediation. And I thank those, some of whom are here, who put time and effort into that mediation because the settlement they agreed on includes conditions and requirements for plans that will mean more robust and assertive protection of the fauna and flora of the area and the whole ecosystem. This included, at their request, leaving the logs in place to promote regeneration. So I believe that we can now proceed with confidence. There's no doubt that felling the pines at once will reduce carbon sequestration by the forest in the short term. However, because the pine trees are aging, they're less effective and the more numerous young and vigorous trees that will succeed them, and within about 10 years. Felling the trees will actually help combat climate change in the long term. Careful investigation has found that the slope has been stable and should remain so if the pine trees were removed. There's no doubt that a substantial minority of the vegetation currently in the undergrowth will be damaged by falling all the pines. However, this will be minimised by them being felled under the guidance of independent arborists to ensure each tree is felled in a direction that will do least harm. If each of the trees were left to be removed in stages or fall at an unpredictable time in a random direction, the harm to the undergrowth would be comparable to that from the project. More importantly, that process would probably continue for 20 to 25 years. This would mean that the planned quality redevelopment of a native forest would in large part be delayed for a generation. Were that to occur, there would be very little pest control of invasive flora and fauna in that period, leading to invasive plant species and predators flourishing there. This is because expert council staff have decided the current state of the pines makes it too unsafe to send staff in there to maintain pest control activities. We've received very good advice both from council staff and from concerned and informed members of the public, which we value. The Environment Court and mediation processes were thorough, and both parties signed up to a quality, secure process to appropriately mitigate potential harm from the removal of pines. I've been convinced that this is the best outcome for the ecology of the area. As agreed in the Ecologists' Joint Witness Statement of 28 August 2019, in the course of mediation, they all said that the adverse effects caused by whole stand removal will be short-lived, and the removal will allow rapid growth of native vegetation and faster transition to a healthier native forest ecosystem. An additional important question is that of the safety of staff and of the public. Council experts have closed this area of the park since 2018 because it is their considered judgment that the state of the pines have now reached too great a risk. That is partly because as they age, the pines, all their major limbs are more likely to fall. Although this can often be predicted in advance, it too often occurs with trees exhibiting no external signs of ill health. Equally important in reaching this judgment, the New Zealand public and our lawmakers now expect higher standards of public health and safety, as can be seen in the COVID-19 response. This change is reflected in the high standards and requirements of governance required of the Waitematā local board under the Health and Safety Act, consequent on the Cave Creek and Pike River tragedies. We could theoretically, as a board, choose to reject the considered expert opinion of our staff and seek an independent report on the degree of risk the remaining trees now pose. But whatever the findings of any such independent report, we still have before us the advice of our staff that the trees are not safe. And I think we're obliged to apply the precautionary principle and follow that advice. We're not to remove all the pine trees. That area of park will remain closed to the public walking or running through it, and to the staff carrying out pest control maintenance until almost all the trees have died in about 25 years. A whole generation of Aucklanders would be denied the joy of experiencing the most inspiring native forest within central Auckland. Directly experiencing the forest is what Parks and Bush are all about, more important than just a distant vista. If we left the pines, barriers and signs would be needed to warn people not to enter the pines. That are comprehensive enough to actually keep everybody out, we'd be accused of building an expensive Berlin Wall. They could be easily crossed, as is still happening now. When someone was killed or injured, we would be regarded as being responsible for not taking our public safety responsibility sufficiently serious. So I've come to the conclusion we need to go ahead. However, I, in consultation with the other board members, are also proposing additional conditions to ensure the best ecological outcome in the healthy forest. Motions Creek, which is important to Leoni in particular, should be protected from siltation and other harm. Revegetation and effective control of pest, plants and animals will be undertaken as soon as it's safe. Through thorough appropriate maintenance is to be undertaken to maximise tree survival, and adequate budget and resources are to be applied to this long term. We were to receive as a board all the plans and reports required, so that in conjunction with the community liaison group we can respond quickly to any issues or concerns that emerge through the process. What I very much hope is that we act decisively now and endorse this careful package of proposals. I believe it's in the best interest of securing the long-term health and also the public enjoyment of the Westminster environment. Is there a second to the resolution? Second to Graeme. It's now open for debate. Is there anyone who would like to speak on the issue? Yes,
I'd just
Sarah.
like to ask a question. I'm not sure if it's appropriate. Did you write that summary?
Yes.
Okay. And do you want to know how we're going to vote now, or
No,
you're
not
just
necessarily.
wanting a discussion?
You can let
Okay.
us know how you're going to vote any stage,
Okay.
including right at the end to surprise me.
Well, do you know what? I might just delight you. I'll be voting against, and I have some clear reasons why.
Okay. Would you like to speak now?
If you'd like me to.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
So there's a number of reasons why I'm voting against, and I do acknowledge the incredible amount of work that the staff and the community have put into this issue. We, as the Waitematā local board, have not brought our community with us. That to me has been evidenced by the numerous emails that we've received over the last month or so. I'm also not convinced that the replanting will survive. I believe that a more thorough tree assessment needs to be done, and I was, as I said earlier, very clear with staff that I'd like to see an independent, internationally respected tree risk assessment done. And as I said also yesterday, I discovered that it would just cost about 5% of this project, and if I was spending, I don't know, let's say it's 800,000, whatever the figure is, I'd be investing that if it was me. I thought that Member Bonham made a really valid point around the resources that our community have versus the resources that the council have, and I'm seeing that with the Erebus, you know, in the Ministry of Culture and Heritage. I'm not convinced that there's been good governance by the Waitematā local board over this project. Yes, I am well aware of my health and safety obligations as a governor. And finally, as economic development lead, we are in a time of immense crisis. The Prime Minister says that COVID-19 impact could be greater than the GFC. My belief is that it will be at least 2 times greater than the GFC. So whether it's this project or any other project where there's major expenditure, until we have a true sense of the impact on the businesses of Waitematā, I won't be signing off any major expenditure. So it's a firm no from me.
Any other speakers?
Thank you. So we must act as good governors of our community, protecting people, property and environment. On occasion, it is not possible to protect all three at the same time, and difficult decisions must be made. So I've asked myself 4 questions so as to render a verdict on this, without emotion, based on facts and based on risk. The first question I ask myself, is there a risk? We've been presented by council officers with a risk, and this has been disputed by opponents. Having studied the opposing reports, I agree there are inconsistencies between them. However, they do highlight the fact that many of the trees are either sick, dying, dead, have insect tunnelling, or have risk of their root structure causing toppling. And I do not doubt those findings. I am not an expert in these matters, however I do appreciate that these are risks. The fact that contractors have refused to sectionally fell, it verifies they're dangerous. The fact that up to 10 trees are falling per year indicates that they are dangerous, and they are a risk to people and property. So having been presented with a high risk, if someone was killed tomorrow, I don't believe that I've done my job as a governor. But the second question I ask myself is how to mitigate that risk. So looking at the risk management hierarchy to find a solution. First, the lowest is controls. restricting access to the forest or securing the trees. And this is not a suitable option. It's stopping people from accessing the forest. Locks have already been cut, which means they're ineffective. Really importantly, it prevents the community asset from being accessed by the community. And it could be up to 25, who knows, 50 years before all of these fall naturally. And I'm not prepared to have this community asset locked away for that long. The full path of some of the outer pines is potentially onto public and private property, meaning these controls are potentially ineffective anyway, and there is a risk of death. The second on the risk management hierarchy is isolation. That would involve pushing out the cordon beyond the full path. Again, I do not see this as suitable. It would require evacuation of private property as well as closure of parts of the zoo and other community facilities. It's not acceptable. Substitution is not effective in this case, and that leaves only elimination, which is removal of the hazards. The third question, what is the correct method of elimination that we should adopt here? And there have been alternate solutions proposed. A staged elimination would require the forest to be closed for decades longer until all the pines have fallen naturally, which is unacceptable. Now, the Environment Court has come to a mediated settlement on the method of elimination, and I support that agreement. Other methods, helicopter removal ruled out as too dangerous, sectional felling, too dangerous. The outcome that was agreed is to leave the pine trunks on the ground to degrade and therefore not require a metal road for removal. Opponents are claiming this will increase fire risk and lower the amount of exposed ground for which native bush can regenerate. However, the fact that this was what was negotiated at the Environment Court, I do not believe this should be used as a bad faith way to prevent the outcome of the Environment Court settlement. And the fourth question I've asked myself is, has the due process been followed in this? Has it been sufficient and has it been appropriate? Well, we have seen and confirmed from independent counsel that it's sufficient in a legal sense. I take the legal advice that we've been given, that the appropriate parties have been consulted as required by legislation. The second part of that is, has it been appropriate? And this is somewhat subjective. I don't believe everyone in this room will agree on every single point of has it been appropriate. But I have seen the consultations where the affected parties have been undertaken, the most involved people in this society for the protection of Western Springs Forest, and they have been right through this, through the mediated settlement. So they are major representatives of the opponents, and I'm glad that they have been involved in this. And Mana Whenua, we have seen confirmation, especially from Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei, that they are in alignment with this process. As such, I intend for the vote to vote for the resource consent to go ahead.